In its final decision of the year, the Fed has cut another 25 basis points. The market not responding favorably to that one. We'll be discussing that and much more on today's episode of Money Never Sleeps. Thanks for joining us today, everybody. As we get going, do us a favor, hit that like button. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. Remember, nothing Kevin or I say is financial advice, so please do your own research for making any financial decisions. Kev, we got the 25 basis point cut that everyone was expecting. Powell had his presser. Didn't sound particularly dovish in this one today, and we are seeing a sell-off in risk assets at the moment. NASDAQ taking a big move down over the last 2 hours. Same in the crypto market. Bitcoin absolutely eating shit, down from just under 105,000 to 102.75. So pretty noticeable move there. I don't think this is too shocking. I mean, there's a lot of people predicting a little bit of a sell-off once we got the news of another Fed rate cut. Also, it was mentioned that their plan is for 50 basis points next year, 50 basis points in 2026. So it's going to take a while for these rates to come down. We'll see. And you're on mute right now, Kevin, by the way.
Thank you very much, sir. That is the bearish part right there. If they're expecting 50 next year and then 50 the year after, that is, I don't know. That's really bad. I didn't even know. Obviously, I woke up just from a nap like 5 minutes ago, but that's fucking terrible.
Not an ideal situation. We'll see. We need Bitcoin to hold over. I mean, if it goes back under 100, that's not a good sign. Alts are absolutely bleeding as we speak. Solana down to 210, ETH under 3,800. We didn't get anywhere close to new all-time highs on that. Meanwhile, the Magnificent Seven are all getting their asses kicked, with the exception of Nvidia today, one of the few green ones on the charts. What all are you watching in the markets right now, Kev? We're getting this news right when it should be a Santa rally, and that rally has run out of steam.
As a good friend of mine says, this is a Grinch rally or Grinch dump. I don't know what this is. It's been kind of shitty second half of December thus far, right? We started seeing Nvidia pull back really hard right after SMCI gets pulled out of the NASDAQ, rightfully so. It's maybe Nvidia's pumping because Jensen did a Christmas video yesterday, and then Jim Cramer was like, watch out, bears. And, maybe that, and then with everything that's going on with Powell, it's just like the inverse of the inverse, and everything's just rallying for Nvidia while everything else is bleeding. But what I think we're going to start seeing, because this market is so absolutely greedy and people just love to play the market so much, is that we're going to start seeing a reallocation of cash in a different sector. And I keep saying this, I keep pushing this. I think it's GameStop and the memes. It just seems like it right now. GameStop's actually holding up pretty well. I mean, it's down 4%, sure, but it's still within that channel. It's finding some support on top of it. If it breaks back into the channel, that's okay. We kind of expected it not to take off till next week. And we have to understand, too, this is one day of trading. We've seen many days since this entire rally to the upside from 2023 where we'll have a really bad day. I mean, August 5th, for example, when we had the yen carry trade, it's down 220 points to start the morning for the S&P. Next thing you know, everything's rallying the next day. I mean, Japan's up 10% the next day. Things like this happen all the time. So we can't just say one day is going to make the market for the rest of the year and going into 2025. There's a reason why. Obviously, people are definitely taking profit. We're also seeing a lot of positions probably not excited by some of the stuff that Powell has to say. But again, this is one trading day. I do think that we are going to start seeing a lot of steam run out of some of these major indexes, some of these stocks. You're going to see that reallocate, and it's just going to be this Ponzi until something happens that, maybe the money has to go into somewhere safer, i.e. treasuries, bonds, stuff like that. So right now, I think they're just having a little fun towards the end of the year. The sell-off is just kind of catching a lot of people off guard because everyone was just so greedy they're looking at one thing, but they're not being prepared for another. That's why we're seeing the VIX spike today, right? By the way, anyone who has VIX and you're buying down extremely low, good for you.
Yeah, VIX approaching 19. I think we're going to keep seeing more blood in this final hour of trading. Bitcoin approaching 102. Looks like it's fighting to stay above that level, but I don't know. I think the levies are about to break on that one. What else? I know you said we're just kind of getting caught up on everything today. You each had kind of our own stuff going on before this, but what else have you been kind of keeping your eye on the last few days? I know you brought up some of the meme stocks, but where has your attention been in the markets?
Yeah, it's the meme stocks 100%, and it's primarily GameStop. I kind of assume that Sunday night onward we might hear from Roaring Kitty again. Just seems like that'd be the way, right? Since we last spoke, literally after we did that show, someone put in the last few minutes of trading a $3 million buy for calls that expire on 117. And the funny thing about that is they're in the money already, the $25 strike price. So, who's got a lot of money that's betting on that? Who's to say? But again, we do know that the amount of shares that are floating out there of GameStop are limited. Doesn't take much to start seeing some of these, stocks being covered. The funny thing is, again, everything else is kind of eating shit right now, bleeding. No one's selling their GameStop really. This is right back to the level where it was a few days ago. Look at this, 2 days ago, and you still are low volume. Once this thing starts picking up and you start seeing a lot of volume, I think that's when we start seeing a lot more of this craziness that I'm expecting. And again, we're above the trend line right now. Could we break back into it? Absolutely. We got what? Tomorrow's Thursday, Friday, and then we get Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, next week, Friday. Friday is when it cuts off the 27th. I think it should break out or make its decision what it wants to do by that point. But as of right now, we're just going to keep trying to find that support. And the reason I think this is going to be important is because I expect us to put in a pretty good move to the upside with GameStop, right? Again, I keep thinking, is it $420 that he's talking about? Obviously, that would be really high for the market cap. But if we were to push up 420%, where would that take us? Maybe that's what he's talking about. Well, 420% from current levels, that puts us at about 125, about 155, $155 per share. I think that's possible. The market cap at that point is going to be closer to that 50, $60 billion market cap. Right now, it's, I think, at 13. So I think that's a very reasonable possibility. I wouldn't be pushing it that high. Maybe it does go a lot higher. Who knows? We really don't know, right? We need to suck in retail at some point, and the markets aren't kind of doing that today. So it's going to be one that we're going to be watching, keep monitoring. Again, I think this weekend we will hear something either from Ryan Cohen buying shares, or this guy is going to tweet some type of meme and people get absolutely excited in the post-market hours. The other one, obviously, we're looking at is FFIE. It's eating a little bit of shit today, right? It's down 4 cents. Okay, 4 cents, nothing too crazy. But again, we're looking at the Bollinger Bands. We're seeing a lot of tightening. That is extreme tightening. So either this thing does nothing and there's no money that flows into a lot of these EVs, or this thing just absolutely rips and we're looking at something, somewhat similar to what happened in May. Again, this is just so people know, this is a bet that I also have taken. Went from trading at $1 something to trading at $156 per share. The market cap right now is under $50 million. That's perfect meme coin territory. If you look at fart coin, 4 million to 400 million. Here we are at $1 billion. And I don't know. I was asleep during the process, so I didn't see it. But did anyone ask Jerome Powell about fart coin? That was high on my agenda. I do not want that to go unnoticed.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I didn't see anything on
failed.
the line about it, but no, I do not think fart coin was discussed. We are seeing a minor. If you were looking for an entry into fart coin, now is the time. We're seeing a bit of a pullback. It's holding up stronger than a lot of other cryptocurrencies at the moment. So hot air rises, and if you're looking to make an entry into the fart coin game, this might be it.
Yeah. Let's look at the currencies real quick. I'm sorry, I don't mean to just dismiss your fart coin But I just thought about right now with another rate cut that obviously should be bearish for the dollar, right? The dollar value should be, the DXY should be dumping a little bit. Um, it's not. It's getting stronger, so that means that the yen is probably going to be weakening. Yeah, so things are going to get interesting for Japan because they obviously have their rate meeting. Their, I don't know, their central bank. Let's say FOMC, but I don't think they call it that. But they have their own thing that's going on. I think next week they're going to have to decide whether they're going to raise rates, cut them, or hold them. Again, everything for them was based on what happens today in the U.S. Very interested to see how the Asian markets react tonight, because if we looked at what happened in Japan last night, um, you know, it's another red day. It's been quite a few red days over there in Japan. This is the fun part. You're pretty overbought. You kind of got your move. We're going into 2025. When we look at the Nikkei, it's like, what's going to happen here? Are we putting in a continuation pattern? We're going to have another leg higher, or is this, level of resistance that we have here? Maybe we touch that one more time. Let me see if I can get that. Maybe it pushes up to 41K again, and then we get rejected. But could it also be that the markets just are kind of expecting this is going to be a rollover? I mean, if we look at some of the other markets, the S&P, today's a pretty bad day. If you're looking at the candles, that's a pretty big rollover. But again, completely oversold. So maybe this is offering a little bit of a bounce coming in the coming weeks. Not betting on that one bit. But the NASDAQ obviously has plenty of room to come down. And we also have the Dow, which is the saddest fucking index in the entire globe, which is just down for the 10th day straight now. Longest streak since 1978. And the sad thing about this too is I'm going to actually delete this because maybe it plays out, maybe it doesn't. The Dow can go to 42.25, which is still from here because we have this gap that's right down there. Another almost 700 points down, 1.6% move. And if you were buying up at the top around December 5th, you were looking at that about 6.31%. So this is more of a pullback than we've seen in some time. Not a good look. If you look at the VIX real quick, we're at 1922. Very interesting. Only a few more to 1929. That's inside joke, but we are filling this gap right here. That's what it is, 100%. You're going to fill this gap to 20.33. Maybe it cools off a little bit, but that might be just something bigger that we aren't liking. So what I'm saying is we bounced off this trend line. We're filling that gap there. Maybe we cool off for a few days. But the problem is it's kind of setting us up for a really big move either in January or February. I'm kind of all over the place right now. I'm still tired. But the other thing I did want to talk about is if you remember when Nancy Pelosi bought her calls, they do expire, I believe, this Friday on NVIDIA. If that matters anymore. I don't know if people are still excited about NVIDIA too, but it seems like, hey, that might be a pretty big sign that NVIDIA should be losing a pretty critical level. And I mean, it kind of did. We had this head and shoulders pattern. Here's the left shoulder, the head, and then the right shoulder, and it went above it, and it broke back down beneath it. The interesting thing about this is this move to the downside for NVIDIA, you're probably looking at maybe one stop at 115, finding a stop at 106, and then obviously 96 to 90 is going to be some levels of support there. But I was also looking at it last night. If NVIDIA is just game over and it starts pulling back and you start seeing like 20, 30% pullback, there's a really bad level at $76, where if you lose that, you're coming all the way down between $36 and $31 a share. That's a major move. Obviously, you can find some support within that range, but the problem is when you're looking at this right here, it was just one of those things where right at the beginning of the year, January 2024, you started rallying like crazy. So say you lose this, coming down the support here around 40 is a 47% drop. Down here is a 52% drop in the 36 level. And then if you went all the way full retracement, you're looking at a 57% move down. And that's just from the $76 level. That's a $43 dump. I think it's important that those calls are expiring this Friday. The fact that no one maybe is opening up larger ones is also very telling that maybe the ride with NVIDIA is over. If we start seeing calls, if she pulls open a call on GameStop for 117, I would be very happy, but I don't necessarily know that's the case. I think that's going to be more of institutions just trying to find money, especially if things start breaking out. Again, I think they're going to trade technically on this one, but yeah, just some things to be looking at on that front. Now, what should we take a look at? Should we go into crypto?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's take a look at. We'll start with Bitcoin. It's trying to rebound and fighting to get back over 102. So we're seeing a little bit of movement there, and then we look at a couple alts as well.
Absolutely. So I think this is kind of interesting right here with Bitcoin. Obviously, you got some nasty wicks up here. As soon as you get up there, massive selling pressure. And we put it around that 108, 109 level. Went to 108.3 something, I believe. And, or 108, yeah, 108.356. But you're getting rejected hard. And you got rejected off that 106 level that we put a few days ago. So what does that mean? Well, that means that there's a lot of sellers up here, right? And that's not just from the FOMC. There's sellers prior to FOMC too. But then you're seeing a lot of people trying to buy back here around the 100K level. It might trade like this for a few days, but I am willing to say that Bitcoin, if it hasn't put in its top already, you're looking at it's probably 109, 110 as the potential height. It really depends on if it could hold. The thing I think is going to be really interesting to watch is if it can break back up above 106.5 again. Going to be a key level. If it breaks above that, then obviously you can trade higher. But you're pretty overbought on the daily. Nasty candle here. Your support really rests at 100K, and I think that's more psychological support than technical support. And somewhere in the 96, 97K range. So that's going to be the one to watch. I also think it's very possible that we do start to see Bitcoin roll over a little bit here, and then some of that money go into something stupid like GME or some of these other meme stocks. It could also be some of these other alts, right? It's very possible you can get like another meme that pops out of nowhere and just absolutely takes off. Just things to keep an eye on. Outside of that, let's take a look at USDT, because after a long period of time, you finally broke up above that level. You're at 4.07 on the USDT dominance. Historically, this level has been, we lost it, but this is the deepest we've ever lost it by for the longest period of time. This trend line right here is marked the top of the crypto market for Bitcoin and alts. We're starting to see USDT pick up a little bit here. Again, one day we'll see how it performs going into 2025. But if that starts, climbing and it's at 44.43%, and that starts, holding this trend line, maybe that's the time. If you are a trader, you start looking at your positions. Do I want to be long here or do I want to be short? Because that's a historical trend line. Again, historical trend lines could change. There's also a historical trend line that says that Bitcoin can't go above $120,000 ever. It's logarithmic. It's a log scale. I don't know if I believe that yet or not, but it definitely could be a level of resistance for a lot of people who are trading these things technically. USDT picking up tells me that a lot of people are selling off and then fleeing to cash. You're also seeing this right here with ETH, this pullback. I mean, this level right here at 40,075, 4,100, key level of resistance for ETH. We're talking about it pushing up a little bit higher. It's still possible. Don't know if you have the catalyst for that at the moment. You're going to have to see a lot of people buy back this ETH. We're seeing a lot of institutions buying ETH. I don't know if it's paying off for them, right? They keep buying up the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. That 4,100 level is kicking their ass unless they are expecting a squeeze on ETH. This is going to be the one to break. Got to break 4,100 if you want to climb to 44 or 4,500. So that's that on that. Alt markets actually getting ass kicked today. If you look at this, I mean, just looking at some of these total market caps, like Total 3, obviously that's a big dip for them. Nothing too crazy compared to what we got on the 9th. I think that was when Bitcoin went to that 90,000 level. You're seeing these big candles and then you're seeing these rollovers. They're putting in, slightest level of support on these trend lines. You lose that, you're in new territory, uncharted territory. Obviously, you'd be hoping that some of these lower levels hold the support. No guarantees. But there's a lot of things that are rolling over. And here's the best part about the market caps being so large. I mean, XRP's eating shit right now. When you start to see them pump like crazy, you're like, oh, this is amazing. But it also introduces more volatility. So you're going to start seeing a lot more red days where it'll be down like 7, 8%. That just shows you that there is some volume in the market, but you're also seeing a lot of people, trade back and forth. People get excited when you start seeing the market caps go up, the price go up. But, when they see these major pullbacks, it's going to start being to the point where are the major pullbacks just so repetitive, and you're seeing the volume come in that's so repetitive that people are not willing to buy at the levels. Maybe they're looking to buy a little bit lower. It's very possible. I mean, XRP is one that I was looking at, and I'm like, just this morning, I was like, it's been 2 days since we did the last show. I'm like, this seems like a bit of a parallel channel that I don't necessarily like it. Dumps, goes all the way down to 223 today. Problem is still within the range of a parallel channel, right? So this is one that we're going to continue to watch. Let me see. I think I saw one like right here. Yeah. I mean, this is kind of what we're looking at. It's just trading within this channel. Maybe it goes a little bit higher. Maybe it doesn't. If it does break from it, though, you're looking at a massive move. Just so y'all know, let's say from current levels to where we're looking at, it's probably a 45% drop in the world of altcoins, in the world of Doquans and 3 Arrows Capital. That's lunchtime market movement that can happen so quick, and honestly, people might not be prepared for it. Solana looking weak too, obviously. I think Solana's days are kind of numbered here unless they get a ton of money flowing in. But you're at a pretty critical level. You lose this level right here around 204, 205. You're pushing down another $15 to $45 or so. So pretty good range there. Outside of that, nothing too crazy. I think with alts, everything's just kind of eating shit, kind of red. Let's take a look at banks real quick just to see how they're performing. And we could see that on the right-hand side, they're not doing necessarily the best, down 2%. Bank of America looks like it's going to fill that gap down to 42. Citigroup got a major gap down there, and see if it holds support here at about 68. But I mean, we're looking at $63, so another $6 move down. JP Morgan, yeah. See, there's a lot of what dates are these gaps coming in from too? November 6th. What happened then the day before? It's the Trump rally. So a lot of things from the Trump rally, it looks like in the financial sector, are being reversed. What does that say about 2025? One can only imagine. But it doesn't seem like there is a lot of faith, even with these rate cuts that are coming based off the stock price of some of these things. Like some of these things are falling back into channel. Like Charles Schwab is back in the channel right now, at least this parallel channel, which, I anticipate breaks, and at some point with either in 2025 or 2026, granted black swan in the banking industry, we're looking at a massive move to the downside. This should break down. It hasn't tested this trend line in quite some time, but I do think that it would be similar to what we saw in March of 2023, where it's just a massive red candle down. Let's see, 2 days back to back, 12%, 13% and 12% back to back. Is that out of the realm of possibility? No. We continue to look for where there's liquidity and where there are problems, and that's going to be important. Outside of that, I don't have much else. Is there anything you want to take a look at?
I think we're all good. I also got a kid I got to go check on because
for sure,
it's fun when they start to drop their nap. That's a really fun experience. So, no, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Markets are trying to recover a little bit. I don't know. I'm still not as bearish as Kevin. I think we're going to be fine, but what do I know?
I'm actually the most bullish I've been in like 2 years doing this show right now, bro. Like everyone should be like, oh shit, why is he bullish? When I get bullish, and I believe in it. I like the stock, not financial advice.
Bro, I'm impressed with how well Fartcoin is holding up right now. I mean, compared to a lot of other stuff, it's already like bouncing a little bit. So
the white paper, bro. It's all about the white paper on Fartcoin.
I'm never going to recover. Like Fartcoin is going to be at $5 billion market cap, and I'm just going to be sitting here like that was my chance to retire my entire bloodline.
Hold on. I've never seen what Fartcoin's chart looks like. I honestly, what is it? Fart USD?
I'm just looking at it on Coin Market Cap. I don't even know if it's in Trading View.
That's a shame, bro. Fartcoin's at it.
That's not it.
Well, no. I'm sorry. I thought the ticker was Fart.
It's Fartcoin.
Oh, it's Fartcoin?
Yeah.
Man, that's so stupid. Now I hate this thing even more. I'm not going to short it, though. Obviously, if you're making money, they do have it. It's on Mexi Global. Oh, my goodness. Look at this chart. This is ridiculous. There it is. Is this a ABC or is it a 5-way move? If it pulls back and it holds some support around 57 cents, maybe a little bit higher. maybe a little bit higher for Fert coin.
Go down there to like November, like early November when it was $4 million market cap, and that's where I was told about it and I didn't buy.
Yeah, like 2 cents.
God, like 4
Now
cents.
it's 4 cents.
Yeah.
Now it's 87. Let's see what is that like?
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a big gain that I missed out on.
Damn.
I've never
1900%. Fuck that.
Like,
you know who you have to blame?
Throw a couple soul in there. Like I wasn't gonna make life-changing money off of this, but it would have been a real merry fucking Christmas if I had made that buy. But
this would have never happened if Trump won. It's all I can. I mean, honestly, right? I don't think people would be fucking betting on crypto if Kamala would have won.
Okay, that's gonna wrap it up for today. Appreciate those of you who joined us. If you haven't yet, like the stream, subscribe to the channel, blah blah blah. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We will see you soon, and stay safe in the markets.
Take care, everyone.